Hello, everybody. My name is Alexandria, and today we're going to be talking about the skills and wage gap in California and how the state can address this issue by the promotion of work-based learning practices in our educational policies. So the issue here is that a critical workforce challenge in the U.S. is the skills and wage gap between skilled and unskilled workers. A large wage gap leads to unequal access to resources amongst the poorest Americans. People with larger incomes have the opportunity to pursue post-secondary education and have better health outcomes and just overall a generally better outcome or life outcomes. So I'm so sorry, I didn't. There we go. So to just kind of bring that down to a more personal level, nearly 2 million Californians were working but living in poverty in 2017, and 45% of those individuals were working full time. This is an issue because people are working full time and they still have to go and get second jobs, third jobs in order to just be able to make ends meet. Also notable is the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Top incomes grew while the bottom incomes shrunk, which is a significant issue. And this gap is nothing new. It has been significantly rising since the 80s. And it is also one of the highest, California has one of the highest gaps, skill and wage gaps in the nation. So they're, I think, top 4 or something like that. So how did we get here? Excuse my typo. Oh no, there's no typo. Okay, good. The inflation of the college degree. So I mean this literally and figuratively. Currently, youth that do not pursue a college degree can be considered unskilled as they enter the labor market. A college degree implies that individuals have the necessary skills to perform well in the work setting, and thus there is an increase in the proportion of jobs that require a college degree. So therefore, the perception of a college degree to be economically stable is exceedingly present, especially in high schools, and therefore it is prioritized in performance standards and funding. As a consequence, colleges and universities have substantially increased tuition costs, and thus the prospect of post-secondary education is unattainable, especially those living in disadvantaged situations and historically marginalized communities. So my research paper poses the question, how can the state help to address the increasing wage gap between skilled and unskilled workers by supporting career and technical education practices? So career technical education is traditionally known as vocational training. Vocational training aims to integrate job skills into high school curricula for students who do not pursue a college degree. This vocational degree was widely criticized for a vast variety of reasons. In the past, schools encouraged students to choose one pathway over another. However, CTE now simultaneously prepares students for the skills necessary to succeed in college and in the workforce. The ultimate purpose of CTE is to offer students different pathways and opportunities to personalize their education based on their career interests and their unique learning needs. And there is some evidence to suggest that CTE is successful in the form of higher levels of college and career readiness, graduation rates, employment, earning, and post-secondary attendance. However, there is some research that suggests that a significant portion of the population's needs are not being met. Specifically, this includes those who do not choose to pursue a college degree. And this leads to the search for middle skill workers. Middle skill workers essentially middle school jobs refer to jobs that do not require a post-secondary degree, a 4-year degree. They more often require maybe 1 year of post-secondary learning, maybe a certificate, whatever it might be. And these jobs tend to still offer good benefits and in the form of salary and other benefits. So as an illustration, there are 53% of jobs in the US that are classified as middle skill. However, only 43% of the US workers are trained at this level. So I argue that this can be remedied through the promotion of work-based learning. Work-based learning is essentially a component of CTE, and it varies in the way that it can be delivered. It blends worksite and classroom learning to pair workers with the skills that employers need. Work-based learning consists of internships, apprenticeships, paid student learners, school-based enterprises, job shadowing, et cetera. So it's really this element of public-private partnerships. And high-quality work-based learning experiences can help students earn industry credentials while in high school, build the technical and interpersonal skills that they need to succeed in the workplace, and they can provide a pathway into the labor market. So, So my paper explores 3 different policies related to work-based learning. California has limited work-based learning opportunities and does not prioritize it as a CTE policy. So this project proposes and analyzes a package of work-based learning policies that are meant to strengthen CTE practices and address the skills and wage gap in the state. My policies are categorized in funding, content, and support. And I use the following evaluative criteria: administrative feasibility, equity, and political feasibility to analyze the feasibility of the policy as a package. So as far as funding, states have the option to create specific funding sources for work-based learning. And this in turn shows that the state supports and that the state supports work-based learning. However, California does not select work-based learning as a program quality indicator, nor does it appear to have a dedicated state source of funding for work-based learning. We can use these funding sources to do things such as tax incentives for employers. A lot of states use these tax incentives to promote these public-private partnerships, and these credits tend to cover costs related to training, administration, supplies, and wages. The other 2 policies have to do with infrastructure and content. California does not appear to have a statewide system or organization related to work-based learning for high school students. The state could create a new division. So I propose that the state could create a new division within the California Department of Education that serves as a centralized information and resource hub for employers interested in or participating in CTE. And then states can also promote work-based learning through their content. They can require it as a graduation. They can make it a graduation requirement. And this helps to ensure that students can develop the workplace and job embedded skills and gain work experiences regardless of their immediate post-secondary plans. And California does not have any type of requirement related to this. So as I mentioned, I talk about administrability, which answers questions over authority, commitment, capacity, and support. So I asked, does the agency have the authority to implement these policies? Does it have the resources in terms of staff, skills, money, training, expertise, and are the facilities and equipment available for the proposed policy? So the short answer for all of that is yes. Except for the facilities, according to the California Teachers Association, the infrastructure for traditional CTE courses is dwindling and requires a significant attention and funding. So, and then the last two criteria that I look into are equity and political feasibility. So an equitable policy alternative should consider the degree to which each option might favor or harm particular groups. And encouraging work-based policies would address the growing skills and wage gap by directly connecting non-college bound students with local business leaders. And it also ensures career-oriented education is not used as a dumping ground to underserved populations. And then political feasibility asks whether or to what extent a proposed policy alternative will be acceptable. CTE is one of the most popular educational policy issues today. It receives support from both sides of the aisle at the state level and federally. There are a plethora of bills that have been passed with wide bipartisan support. So this is definitely politically feasible as well. So work-based learning has historically proven positive labor market outcomes, and the promotion of public-private partnerships provides opportunities for local business leaders to have an active role in the development of young workers preparing to enter the labor market. So I am proposing a shift in policy towards work-based learning to ensure, as I mentioned before, that career-oriented education is not used as a dumping ground to underserved populations. And that is all. Thank you. Yes.
I'm just interested to know what industry do you think would most benefit from a program like this?
What industry? Well, so I kind of I'm gearing this towards, as I mentioned, non necessarily like technical or so it would be like construction. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Just essentially jobs that do not require a 4-year degree. So more hands-on jobs that yeah, so like in the construction area and things like that. Yes.
How is this different than like apprenticeships?
Apprenticeships is an element of work-based learning. So, and we do promote apprenticeships within our educational system, but it's in the form of grants, and grants, you have to go and apply for them and go find it, as opposed to, us going out and finding the employers and finding those public-private partnerships. Yes.
So, really interesting idea to create a new, industry or study, whether it's CDP. So I studied higher ed, and as I looked at the presentation, I thought, well, gosh, like the Cal State system really pushed back because, a lot of the students away from a 2 or 4 year degree potentially into work-based learning different kinds of learning. So how do you think about how you would address that kind of pushback from, let's say, higher education? Yeah.
So I do know that the community colleges actually do actively not explicitly, it's not like a standard, but I know that they engage in these types of practices. So I'm not sure to what extent they might push back, because I think, they seem to be supportive of something like this. And I think in turn, if you are getting kids ready earlier, it might also decrease the amount of students that are impacting the community college system, right? It's very impacted, and I think it would actually help there be a remedy to that. Yes.
And it would be interesting if, students are not going to have probation and they are on it for a semester to 3 semesters, I think after 2 semesters and they're finally, they take away your parents' late. That's how it works. But wouldn't it be interesting if they triggered something like this, get that student with what they need, that maybe that community college with that 4-year institution is not where they're headed, and maybe going towards this.
Yeah.
Trigger something not only for high school students, but also
right.
community college important students and struggling.
Yeah, definitely. It's just about identifying it a little bit earlier. Yes, definitely. I think it could also save people a lot of money too in the long run. Hi, yes.
So as young students kind of going into something like this that may not have any career experience, how do you avoid seeing them potentially being taken advantage of by people offering work-based learning, where it's really just trying to get cheaper labor,
Yeah.
unpaid, and having accountability?
Yeah. So I think that, I'm sorry, so to clarify, you're saying how do like kids that go that direction not know that they're not being scammed, essentially, right? I think there would need to be some type of, regulation and strict guidelines that they would have to follow. If, like, hypothetically, it's unpaid, but you get a guaranteed job out of it, right? Or it's unpaid, but we'll reference you here and whatever it is. And these would be more personalized partnerships within the local communities. But I think that would be one way to go around that.